So Jesus has asked us to wash the feet of others. Doesn't sound too bad. Sign me up, you might say. But before you sign on to this, I was wondering if it would be helpful if we gave it a little thought. Because you might look at this gesture of Jesus and say, well, it was an act of kindness. And I can do that. I can be kind to people. Maybe I can do random acts of kindness for strangers. I'm good with that. But there's a lot more going on here than just kindness. You might think, well, it was a gesture of hospitality. And I can be hospitable to people when I see them out in public, perhaps when we get back to Mass, I can greet people here at Mass when they sit near me. I can be hospitable. That's good. But there's more here than that. You might say, well, this is an example of servant leadership. And I can do that. I'm in a position of leadership in perhaps a club or my work, and I can adopt that kind of attitude, to sort of serve the people that work for me. But there's still more to it than that. So I think what perhaps gets lost in all of this is understanding what it meant to wash someone's feet in that day and age. And maybe the easiest way to explain that to you is just to point out, if you don't already know, that it was a job that was given to the lowest servant in the house. The lowest of the low. In other words, if you had multiple servants in your house, you did not just call over any one of them to wash your feet. You called over only the lowest one. That was the only person that would do this. I've been struggling this week trying to find something in our society that would be comparable to this, and I don't know that there is one. There's not something that we as a society sort of universally think is a job that, if you will, is beneath us. But maybe you could find an answer to this for yourself. Think of moments where you may have said something like, well, I'll do that or that, but don't ask me to do this. Especially as it applies to other people, you might say, oh, I would be happy to financially support his heart or some other organization that helps the poor, but don't ask me to go volunteer. Or you might say, well, I'm willing to support them financially to volunteer, but don't ask me to sit and maybe eat a meal with these people. Lots of possibilities along those lines. Maybe when it comes to forgiveness, you might say, oh yeah, God, I'm perfectly willing to forgive this person and this person, but don't ask me to forgive this person. You need to find that thing, that task in your life. I need to find it in mine that for whatever reason, we don't want to do that. Maybe there's some emotional issue. Maybe it's just a question of preference, just something we don't like. I had a friend years ago that told me that at work he had a list, and always at the bottom of the list there were all these things that had to get done, but he never liked to do them. And so they were always at the bottom of the list and only ever got near the top when they just had to get done. So you and I, our task is to figure this out. Because I don't know that I would be wrong in suggesting that some of us, maybe myself included, we're a little comfortable. We're comfortable in our spirituality, right where it's at. We're comfortable, maybe even physically comfortable as well. And maybe this is the good Lord's way of pushing us out of our comfort zone. That he wants us to figure out what is this thing that we are reluctant to do. Whether that has to do with homeless people or ministry in the church or family relationships, whatever it could be. It might be any number of things in your life and mine. But whatever that is, I just wonder if the good Lord is saying to us, Yeah, see, I want you to wash their feet. I don't want you to do what you want to do for them. I want you to wash their feet. I've had a little experience with this in my life. Times and places where the good Lord, in whatever way, and certainly in his wisdom, has pushed me out of my comfort zone. Times when I've been fortunate enough to have had, I don't know, maybe courage is the right word, maybe stupidity, I don't know, but I said yes. I said yes to something that, I don't know, I wasn't sure about. It always worked out. Always worked out for the better. I'm a better person because I let the Lord push me in those directions. It's Holy Thursday. Most of you watching are probably going to watch tomorrow afternoon and again at the Easter Vigil. We have a couple days here to follow the Lord through his passion and to appreciate the depth of the anguish of the disciples on Saturday. As we do that, why don't we pray and ask the Lord if he wants us to take a step in a direction that we're reluctant to go, if he wants to knock us a little bit out of our comfort zone. Let's ask the Lord, what do you want me to do? Whose feet do you want me to wash?